In part 2, we discuss some of her aspects in the programme, and in part 3, we discuss her connection with the super soldiers. So, Bases 29 with Nina, a super soldier and spiritual warrior.
I wish that you could all see him do that, it's so funny. Maybe
Well,
they can't, leave you on camera. Anyway, yes.
Yes, well, I'll get myself on camera for the later part, the last part saying hello and goodbye. Okay, Nina, welcome back to Bases 29 Part 2. And at the end of Part 1, you were making very serious things about how one particular individual controlled Britain's premier, for a time, abductee mind control group called a MASH.
Yeah.
How do you think that worked? How do you think she was so successful at doing that?
Well, I think she entranced people. I think people, not everyone, a lot of people could see what was going on, and the ones of us that knew we couldn't speak, had to keep a distance.
Right. Okay. Let's make that very okay. The ones who could but couldn't say. Why? What did they see, and why couldn't they speak?
Because we saw that she was, well, basically, really in simple terms, that she was trouble, and you were a good man. But
well, I'm very grateful to hear that. But why was she trouble?
But we couldn't say anything to you because you would have thought that these were people out to like divide and conquer type thing. You were you were under her spell. You would not have believed random people that you didn't know coming up to you and trying to break her spell. It just wouldn't have happened.
Now, I want to get into the mechanisms of this spell from a mechanical point of view and from a mind control point of view. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, she would have used neurolinguistics on you. She used her eyes, obviously. Vibrational pull.
Are you talking like a sexual chemistry?
Yeah,
I was very switched on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, every obvious tactic in the book, but she would have been so charming and nice about the way she did it, and she would have made you feel so special that you weren't, you just would have thought she was a special soul. You wouldn't have, and that's the whole point. That's the whole point of her game.
I mean, I have to say there were many very serious rows about.
Oh, I can imagine. Power struggles the whole time.
Usually during the MASH update recordings.
I've seen a few, and anyway. Yeah, I mean...
But the most important thing was when there was virtually no empathy after the death of...
Yeah.
It was simply, her comment was, what a silly chicken, or what a...
I haven't seen all of the... I watch bits and bats, but I haven't... I don't... to be honest, I can't watch stuff with she's in it. I've watched your Bases things, but I have watched little bits and bats of stuff with Joanne in, but I can't watch her because I know what she's up to and I know what she's doing. Now,
we are getting letters from people who have been able to say that, but I have to say that one individual who I just interviewed had a lot of information to tell me about her, and then he told me today he couldn't. Yeah, the actual recording we did, he was practically not saying anything at all.
So
but he did say he didn't want to say anything until Joanne gave him permission.
What? Oh my God. Well, it's not surprising. I mean, obviously, she's like a total programmer, controller. And obviously, she was there to infiltrate and do all this because you had access to all these people. And she wanted...
Well, she got the people. I mean, this is the point. She was filtering the people through the MASH thing.
Yeah, of course.
And we're obviously saying stuff which is very serious.
Yeah.
And she could counter very seriously, obviously. Seriously.
If she wants to bring it on with me, she's more than welcome to. I'm not scared of her. I think it's disgusting what she's done. And I would happily say it to her face. I really hope you are listening to this.
Is there any mechanism of deprogramming that the people who have made contact with her, is there any way they can be helped or deprogrammed? Or
the problem with this mind control kind of tactic is that people that are under her spell who refuse to see what's going on will get so angry with the person who's trying to point it out to them that they'll lash out at the person that's trying to help them and go all out to destroy them, which is what's been going on with you and key people. Absolute attack mode. It's very difficult when somebody doesn't want to hear it, when they're not ready to hear it. I'm a big believer that sometimes you need a shock to the system to get yourself to jolt out of that reality, but it doesn't mean that they're going to do so straight away. It might take months, it might take years, but at some point in time, hopefully, they'll start to realise, because you can only live in denial for so long. Except, having said that, some people choose to live in denial, but not usually people who want to seek the truth. You know, they might be able to carry that on for so long, but at some point in time, I would expect that they'll realise that they've been under her spell.
I think it's time I actually sat in there. Could you just take that computer out of the way? Because I wanted to specifically talk about the Channel 4 programme. Okay, because we're talking about Joanne Summerscales, the Amash Project, the mind control of people in that, and the TV programme, it seems to be a very serious subject indeed. Yeah. So can you discuss this? What can we do about people who be? It's my analysis that Channel 4 programme. Yeah. Sorry. It's my analysis that Channel 4 programme is actually used as a mechanism for targeting a certain demographic within society.
Yeah, absolutely.
And accessing them, at least in the first stage of switching them on.
Yeah.
And I'm very concerned that Joanne and whoever is controlling her has worked through the programme and Channel 4 to target a mass demographic and will continue to do as long as that programme is running.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're absolutely right in everything you just said. Well, it's kind of multi-layered, isn't it? You know, it was done.
Let's go through the layers.
I was just about to. So... Oh,
I'm in trouble already.
Yeah, okay. I'm trying to concentrate now because it's all going scrambled. Okay, so there's the programme As It Appears, which of course was to make, you know, to try and ridicule. You know, that's like the most obvious one, of course.
But it was very successful with a lot of people.
Yeah.
It did get about 1 million viewers on the first showing. It was shown 28 times.
Yeah, they were trimming it in there, weren't they?
And we do feel that 2 documentaries were shot.
Yeah, I'm sure.
We've been told that what wasn't in the first documentary will not go to anybody, but we strongly feel that will be sold on. That doesn't mean it will be, but that's what we feel.
Yeah.
Because we don't feel that
it will. You know, at a future point in time, it will probably suit their agendas to change, don't they?
I mean, very simply, they came and reshot stuff with me personally, and they didn't use the reshot material, or most of it. I think there was a couple of bits they used. But the important thing about this is why reshoot stuff if they're not going to use it. How do we deal with those who have been activated or programmed with the first showing?
Oh God. Basically, it's a really difficult situation because so many have gone into attack mode, as in attack anyone who tries to help. So, I mean, I personally think reach out with your heart to them, you know, have them in your thoughts, etc., etc. But it's incredibly hard to approach these people when they're in triggered attack mode, as in totally sucked into the programming layers which have gone on within their heads.
And what sort of layers are you talking about? Or can you describe any of that?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, like, some really bad things have happened, you know. Maria's lost her daughter. So she's obviously grieving, heart-stricken already, you know. And then she's been put on this program and been, from her point of perspective, being ridiculed
Yes.
to the world. And it's incredibly easy for us to say, you know, need to move on. But she really does need to put the program behind her, because while she's in the mode she's in now, she's not going to get better. She's only going to be running around in circles.
Yeah, with this point of view, I mean, I don't want to. She's already hurt enough and she's upset enough.
Yeah.
But I think from the purposes of editing, when this is actually shown, that's really in the past.
Now, I wonder why they're targeting her like this. I mean, anyway. And so, yeah, ask me another question then.
Well, just while I'm in front of the camera, ultimately, what do you think this whole process has been about? The whole Amash project, because I was fired at Sky Television, because I identified a series of very serious things going on.
Yeah.
Very soon after that, Joanne came along begging and for this whole thing. Sarah Stanger, who is, we all know, she's recorded a whole lot of stuff. This blog to Sarah Stanger. She came along as well. Seemed to have a very close knowledge of what I had written in emails. Now,
yeah, well, that's not surprising. Sarah Stanger, if she was telling her true story, would be an interesting case. But she's definitely out to influence.
Sarah Stanger was going to
she
be. She
steals other people. She is a genuine person who's been through the programs. But she doesn't tell her story, quote unquote, her story. She steals other people's stories and integrates them within her own bits of her own story. She is Stuart Swerdlow's half sister.
What do you mean by that?
I mean exactly what I just
said.
said.
From the cloning labs or what? Or
I don't.
Natural.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
now, these are things you believe or know or have been told.
This is information which I was told, and really do believe it's true.
Right. Okay. So we have to make that qualification, because obviously these people may not agree with what's been said.
Yeah. No, that's fine. But I do know that Stuart Swerdlow is. Poses as a deprogrammer, but actually he is a programmer, and anybody who is starting to get memories and realise involvement in this, really, you do not want to approach this man. He is there to keep you in control and to keep you where
which person
you're meant to be. Stuart Swerdlow.
Right. I mean, he's a Montauk, all this sort of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And Joanne specifically wanted to include a clip from him in one of the updates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Not
so
surprising.
Are we saying that this is a Montauk project type of a thing we're dealing with, or what?
Well, I think Joanne was sent to, because you have all these contacts with people that were in specific programs, and so I think that is why obviously she's come to infiltrate, because. And to try.
Well, she's done more than infiltrate. She took over ideas from the exopolitics people up in the Midlands, and we'll not go too much further than that. But essentially, she's taken ownership of the Amash project.
Oh, I realise that.
And it's
despicable, isn't it?
So anything further really about this particular part?
Well, to be honest,
it's very disturbing, and it affects real people and real people's lives.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
The main thing is to stop this now and to stop any further contamination and to rescue those individuals.
Yeah, I mean, she's obviously created havoc and so much fear and distrust amongst the community. It's so infiltrated at the moment, but...
You mean there's more than just...
I mean, there's a lot of key people... As in, there's a lot of people who are feeding into this whole thing and keeping it going. And the people who are doing this know that they're doing this.
We talked about the Amash project
I'm
fiasco,
talking about
but
people
what I call the
amongst...
car crash of the Channel 4 programme.
Yeah, I'm talking about people who are posting specific things, trying to have attacks at you, trying to keep the whole thing going on and on. It's just an absolute waste of energy, but it's not from the point of view that the energy levels that it's feeding off is the energy levels which they want to absorb from us.
Who's
so,
they?
as in, like, whoever it is that's in charge of all this stuff. I don't know exactly
fine.
who they
Right.
are, but I would say in this instance, then it would be that reptilian energetical field, but negative, not positive, obviously.
In other words, you want to make it clear just because one's a reptilian doesn't make you a
No,
bad person.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's just like any
the reptilians
race.
have had a bit of a hard press on
Yeah,
this.
big time, you know, and because they probably want everyone to think that just because someone's got reptilian DNA that makes them a bad person. It's really not the case, you know.
Okay, we've got that out of the way. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, very
what
briefly
was I
on this
gonna
particular
say?
subject, the Channel 4 programme,
Yeah.
what's its status? What's the agenda?
What I
It
wanted to
must be
say though
part-
about the energetic thing is, people are feeding them by getting sucked into that. It's God, it's really hard to explain. But we've got to be more aware of what we're doing and saying and what we're putting out there ourselves. Because if you want to consider yourself awake and aware, you can't get sucked into that negative level of energy. And
Yeah,
feed into
I'm
it.
very conscious of doing this on the Basis series. You know,
Yeah.
they have too much fear stuff. It's peddling too
It's-
much, maybe other people's agendas.
Well,
And being used for
there's
a
a
trigger, for conveying trigger mechanisms.
There's a difference between being... It's fine to learn this and to know this, just don't get sucked into the fear side. Because if you get sucked into the fear side, then you are literally feeding that like particular like mainframe in the matrix type thing, you know?
Right.
So like I was saying before about chemtrails and everything, it's
Yeah.
really important to not get sucked into the fear. All we have to do is raise our vibrational frequency level. All of us raise
How do
above
people
it.
do that?
Well, have awareness, yes, but have awareness that we have self-control over
Yeah.
ourselves. We're in charge of our vibrational frequency. No one else is.
In other words, don't give your permissions away and take control of your permissions.
Yeah. Be really careful what you're watching. Be really careful
In what way?
you're thinking, what you're saying. Everything has power behind it. Every word, anything you look at, everything you do has some... And also, actually, really important, I say this, the power of intent is really the most important thing for anyone. Anything that you do, if you're doing it with the right intentions, with a good, pure heart. Also, the more knowledge it is true that the more knowledge you have, with knowledge comes, like, when I say with greater knowledge comes greater responsibility, it's because the more that you know and the more aware you are, the more important it is that you keep control and do not feed into that fear, that you do not become like a victim of having the knowledge but in the wrong ways, you know?
Okay.
It's really important.
Well, just to round off the Amash thing, what about people who've written into Amash or have seen the programme? What do you say to them?
I really, 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 really hope that you can understand my point of view and what I'm saying. I really hope that you can see what's really been going on. And I really, really hope that all this attacking and mudslinging stops, because it's just getting everyone nowhere. It's just keeping everyone stuck going around in circles. And, you know, yeah, it's awful what happened, but we can't stay stuck there. We have to move on.
Well, there's one most important thing to close is that Joanna's moved on to this thing called Amash Checks, the childhood experiences. I feel very strongly for it.
Now, of course, I mean, it's scandalous. Obviously, she's going to be programming children. Now, I was looking at the spelling of that and I saw something in it, but I can't think now.
Now, the thing is, we're accusing Joanne of terrible things here.
I'm not accusing her, as in accusing her. I'm saying it's because it's the truth. You can call it an accusation, but I don't think the truth is an accusation. The truth is the truth. If people don't like the sound of it, then...
I mean, I think it's very important to point out that if you wanted to be a childminder or have any kind of connection with children at school, it's a legal requirement that you are vetted.
Yeah.
And I don't see any vetting certificates for Joanne. And I would very strongly guard anybody else who wants to get involved with that not to do so.
Yeah, do not let your children near that woman. Do not let anyone is at danger around her, because she has the ability to enchant you. So it's really important that you don't get sucked into her web. Literally her web. You know? And she is aware of what she's doing. She isn't a puppet. She is aware of what she's doing. So that makes her even more dangerous.
Well, it's made her sufficiently dangerous that it's taken 2.5 years for anybody to come through. Is it because whatever happened to the Channel 4 programme, something broke, something was done, and is it because her attention has been shifted to other things?
I think the way... that's a good question. Yeah,
Because
I'd say this is
suddenly-
the good that's come out of the Channel 4 programme, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because obviously everything has a cause and effect. And so, yeah, the programme happened and it was like a you know, what they made was the shambles.
It was
kind
a car
of thing.
crash, if I think.
Yeah.
But it was very
the
successful
positive-
in its target demographic, that is to say,
Yeah.
young teenage,
Yeah.
and from what I understand, young teenage boys.
Yeah. And also, so cause and effect, you know, finally people are seeing, because you know, obviously not everyone's thinking that Joanne's wonderful. A lot of people can see her for who she really is now. So thankfully, it's like woken people up to...
Yeah, I mean, I have to take full responsibility for the fact that I've helped
It's not your fault. You were under her spell. You were totally enchanted.
Well, the thing about it is, how did that happen? I mean, are there any warning signs that anybody can see before they're trapped?
Well, yeah, I'd say if someone's like being overly interested in you and overly familiar from day one, and like, it's difficult, isn't it? Like, because what she'll have been doing as well will have been subliminal. She'll have been...
It took her 3 months to get me to do this.
Right. Free again.
Yeah. I mean, at the start of 2011, she came straight on board immediately. I'd left Sky.
Yeah, now that is a key thing here. Targeted the second that you left there.
Yeah, and I mean,
now,
Sky TV, as the manner in which their whole strategy was to completely destroy my professional career.
Yeah.
And that includes the BBC 6 months later.
Nice.
But we'll leave that out, and we'll... I'm better behind the camera, so we'll have a short break. That's enough about that, and this about that, and we'll get on to your story and the important things you have to say.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Give me strength.
Maybe we'll stop there. And hopefully that's all in focus and all that.
Looking forward to this bit.
Okay, that's rolling. That's rolling. Okay, this is Basis 29, take 2, take 3.
Thank you.
Okay, Nina, let's get back to your involvement with the various programs and how you got from being a very interesting girl with a very interesting family to underground bases and mind control.
That's a very good question. Do you have the answer for me, please? Okay.
I think you mentioned you'd been in Men with Hill or someplace.
Well, I always felt quite connected. Well, a little bit upset, not obsessed.
Which is the local secret alien underground NSA base here in Yorkshire, South Yorkshire.
And I've always lived so close to it. This is actually the furthest away from it that I've ever lived. From being 3 years old onwards, I've always generally lived no further than 10 miles away from the base. But, you know, this is all kind of a bit irrelevant because time and space it doesn't
I
work.
mean, is there a reason why you've been so close to it? Have you been away from this area at all for any long period of time apart from
Yeah, I've travelled
Germany,
around the world and
Germany
stuff.
yeah.
But no, I always return here. Anyway.
So are you yourself under a mind control thing?
Well, I definitely have been. But I started to break that at age 19, 20, around that age. It was about 1998 when I started to break my
So how did you
programming.
become aware and how did you break?
Well, basically, myself and my best friend had worked out all of this stuff, except not into as much detail, because this is just from putting our heads together and working stuff out. So no computers, no technology, just...
Is it the fact you didn't use computers important because some people believe computers are actually alive and have an artificial intelligence?
Yeah, I think that...
You agree with that?
Well, yeah, of course I do.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that basically everything, all the truth to everything lies within us, and we're all always looking to the outside for the answers, but the answers lie within us all. So we don't really need computers to find this stuff out. All we need to do is look within.
But if the computers are artificial intelligence, what do you mean by that?
I mean that... Oh God, I don't even know how to explain something. Sometimes.
Let's start at the beginning. Are they an alien life
Let's go
form?
back to Menworth Hill thing. Just really interesting.
Just for people who don't know what Menworth Hill is.
Okay, yeah.
What is it?
It is a spy base. It is NSA run. This is the official information that we're given.
And where is it? It's in south. Where is it?
Do you like to interrupt sometimes, don't you?
Yes, continually.
It's not though, because it breaks one's flow of thought and it makes it hard to answer questions. So basically it is American run by the NSA on British turf, British owned turf, in North Yorkshire near Harrogate, and it looks like a load of giant golf balls which contain satellites. But the thing is, most of it's underground.
Receiving tracking.
Yeah,
stuff.
it's a spy base. It's the largest spy base in the world that we are actually aware of. Which has been publicly stated on record. It's also a rocket launch place now as well. These remote controlled ones.
Drone base.
Yeah. And Project Echelon. Yeah.
Echelon,
that's it. But it's really important to understand that what you see above ground is but a tiny, tiny segment of it, because most of it is below ground. There's like a whole entire city beneath the ground.
And you know this how?
Well, my ex-fiance, who, long story short, was adopted to the family which he grew up with. He comes from the Collins bloodline, but was adopted under very...
As in Jay Collins, the man in black?
No, as in the Collins. He is not of the Collins bloodline, or so he states. I don't know if that's true or not. I know he states that himself. No, the Collins bloodline, as in... what was he called? Mark Todd, who spoke out.
Matt Todd?
No, it was called Mark. I think it was called. Was he called John Todd? John Todd. Oh my God, I'm having a mental block. The guy who spoke out in the 70s, I think it was, or 60s, late 60s, 70s, about the occult and about the bloodlines and about the mind control, and about the part that the Collins family had to play in it all, basically.
Where did he speak out? We can
This
look
is
it
in
up.
America, and he did actually. I don't know if he is still alive, but he has been in jail for years now, for years. So
Because he spoke out and highlighted these programs.
yeah, rather like Fritz, he got sent to prison as well, set up and sent to prison.
Fritz who?
Springmeier, the man I mentioned earlier.
Now you're doing something to the back of your head. Have you had experience with stuff there?
Sorry, that was itching.
Yeah, just a good old itch.
Yeah.
No sort of probes and spiders, no.
Oh my God. Not at this second in time, anyway.
I'm referring to parasitic
Yeah.
entities.
I have got a thing with spiders, and it links with the Bilderberger thing. But what do you want me to talk about? Menwith Hill?
We're talking about Menwith
Bilderberg?
Hill, okay.
Right, okay. So last year I started to have quite a lot of recall of certain things. But the problem is that as a programmed response to remembering stuff, there's this it's really embarrassing, but anyway, like this kind of I'd remember something and I'd literally shake it out of my head. As fast as I'd be remembering stuff, I'd start trying to shake it out of my head. It's so bizarre. And then I'd be thinking, because all I wanted to do was remember stuff, and then I'd start remembering stuff and having flashbacks and stuff, and I'd be literally trying to shake them out of my head. I'm not going to do it on camera, but you can imagine, Anyway, it makes me
Well, what do you mean shake? Why not? Shake, rattle and roll?
I mean, I'd shake my head, to shake the thought away.
Is that a technique that people can use?
I wouldn't advise it. It's a programmed response. You're not meant to remember all this. It's meant to stay hidden.
Yeah, but you have, so can we know about it?
Sorry?
Can you tell us about it?
What do you mean?
About the things you remember?
Yeah, yes, I'm just going to. So it was about pretty much about exactly a year. Yeah, give or take, probably about last August. I was not living here then. I was actually living in my mother's attic. Well, in my mother's house, but my bedroom was in her attic. And the long and short of it all is that I was there. I was online while this is going on. I've got a conversation online which I would be able to find of all of this. I was there. I was also kept going underneath Menwith Hill, and I was walking through the corridors talking to some guy. I'm sure he was an American guy, military man. I'm sure that he was called Jason, but...
Is this in a dream or is it in reality?
No, this is reality. So... And then I'm also, there's also occult rituals going on. This is 3 timelines, merging together. Well, I don't mean merging together. They're separate, but I'm involved in all 3, at the same time.
Does this mean you time hop?
I don't know what it means. It means it gets a little bit confusing. Yeah, I believe probably that, yes. But I didn't want to be there, and so I was... No! It was... I don't really even know how to begin to explain it.
Where are you now?
It was really bizarre.
In your mind?
I'm definitely here.
Yeah, but in the story, where are you?
I'm thinking back to... Well, when I was underneath Menwith Hill, the me here, in this state of mind... that was at home, did not want to be there. But the me that was walking under Menwith Hill was happy and but confident and didn't feel any fear and was talking to this man on an equal base level. I wasn't there as a captive or anything. This is how I recall it anyway. The occult ritual bit though, I really can barely remember.
Were you part of that ritual?
All I know is it was just really dark, and that was...
I mean, when you say it was dark, was it dark in terms of energy or dark physically dark?
I mean, both, as in, energy, as in it was quite dark to see as well, as in I don't operate on those levels.
What did you see in Menmouth Hill?
Well, yeah, I mean, I was just walking into corridors.
What was the corridors like? Lift shafts. What are the buttons like? The colour.
I don't have that much. You know, I don't. I just remember walking down corridor, round bend, talking to this man.
What are the corridors' floors like? What's the walls like?
I don't know, Miles. A bit like, I suppose. Let me think of something to compare it with. I'm trying to think of an analogy to give you, and I've just gone totally blank. That's so frustrating. They were square shaped. There was strip lighting. Very much.
Was the style of the strip lighting like 1950s, modern? What
Yeah,
was it like?
I would say from that time era, that's how it seemed to me. I wouldn't say it seemed ultra modern or anything. No, not in my recall then. But I don't remember that much. I more remember the conversation. Well, not the conversation. Sorry, I just more remember that I was talking to this man, and he was American. But it was. Listen, you have to understand. I'm switching between 3 different timelines.
Okay, but
it's
can you give
really
any description,
fast.
uniform, emblems?
No, I can't.
Anywhere?
I can't. I'm sorry.
Numbers on the walls?
I really can't. I'm trying to block it out while it's going on. I'm not trying to remember. While this was going on, I've got the program response to block. So it's really difficult. It's a miracle. The only reason I probably have any recall is because I was online and I was writing it down as it was happening. And my friend who I was telling was like freaking out.
When do you mean you're online? At your computer here or what?
Yeah, no, I wasn't in this house. But yeah, I was on the computer, and so I have this written down, and I could go back in time, which I will do, and I'll find the conversation, because I haven't even looked at the conversation since it happened, really, to be honest. A lot of stuff happened.
How did you get to Menmouth Hill?
Well, that's a good question, isn't it? Seeing as I was sat in the bedroom. I don't know.
Was it a MyLab? Or?
Well, I would say that time is an illusion and time and space doesn't really exist like we think it does. So you can probably be in multiple places at once. It's just so complicated, and how on earth does
try and explain it.
I don't know. How can you explain something?
When you time jump, is it like when you go shopping?
But I wouldn't say that. Well, when I was a kid, and I used to go to bed at night, to me, astral projection was something that I did. I thought that I did it. I thought everyone did it. I went to bed if I couldn't sleep. I used to love it. I used to see it as flying around the world. So I'd go to my favourite locations and just fly. It was amazing. I loved it. And I could do that for years and years and years until after nearly getting killed and stuff. Well, really massively targeted and stuff.
Well, you were getting killed, but before all that happened, I mean, what sort of things did you see? Did you see just normal things? Or
I used to fly over the mountains, and then I'd have a fort, and I'd be on a beach and islands and stuff. I'm gonna have to switch this off. Oh, Jesus. I can't reach it. Ah. Yay,
that's
thank you.
probably too. That still sounds like that's a 10 o'clock alarm. So.
That was the 10 o'clock alarm I was telling you about. Anyway, 2100 hours. So, back to point. Yeah, I just used to love it. I don't ever remember seeing anything or anyone else. I just used to, I've always been a loner. I've always, I wasn't really allowed to have friends when I was a kid. I grew up in a place that was really racist. Well, really white, just really white. So I didn't really have any friends.
Was that a problem for you?
Well, not really, because I used to go and play in the fields and with the horses and like animals and stuff. I think it's been a good thing, really. But I suppose you could look at it as a sad thing if you wanted to. But for me, it means that I don't need people to be happy. It means I can be happy.
You've got your ability. You've got your own boundaries, and you're stable.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But I think it's
okay,
really...
how do we get to Menmouth Hill?
Right, okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know how to answer
How many
this.
times have you been there?
I've always like been really intrigued by the place and really interested in the place. But I only have one memory of being there, and that was that night. But then a lot of stuff was coming through. It's starting to come to me. But what happened, of course, then was I got massively re-traumatised and blocked in a huge way.
What do you mean by re-traumatised? What happened the first time?
Well, I've been traumatised my whole life in different ways. For example, when I was a kid, like my mum used to... After my parents split up and I wasn't allowed to see my father anymore, who I was like really... Apparently he used to take me everywhere with him for the first 2.5 years of my life. But anyway, I was about 3 when they split up. So then when Mum got the house that I was brought up in, up here, I just remember, as long back as I can remember, she used to fall out with me and she used to run away and say she was never coming back. And I always believed her. I mean, I was so young. And so she used to drive off and go and, like, prize me off her. Because I would have been quite clingy to her.
What age was that?
Well, from any time from, like, 3, 4 upwards. A lot of stuff went on which, you know, shouldn't have gone on. Which would be, like, termed as abuse. But, you know...
So has this affected you as part of a Monarch program type programming?
Well, I mean, obviously, like, the stuff I'm aware of, I mean, if there's more layers that I don't yet know about, then I can only speak of what I can remember and what I know for fact has happened. I'm not going to...
Yeah, I want you to stay on that. What you know as opposed to what you think.
I've only stated what I know that I know and haven't put any thoughts into, you know. I mean, not, you know what I mean, not thoughts, but what's the word? Unless I know that it's happened to me, I'm not going to mention. If it's stuff that I'm like thinking might have happened or whatever, but I have no proof of, or, well, when I say proof, I'm not absolutely certain, it's not going to get mentioned. So
getting back to Menmouth Hill.
Yes.
Have you been to any other bases, any other facilities?
Well, I lived in Cornwall.
Cornwall.
Yeah. In Newquay, actually, for when I think I was 90. Well, hang on a moment. I think I was maybe 20. Yeah, 20 years old. That's how old I was.
There are lots of stories about Cornwall.
Well, anyway, I don't really know, to be honest, that much stuff. But to be honest, I only know what this particular thing. Some weird stuff happened there, actually, yeah. The guy that I was initially working for, though, definitely was a Mason, 100%. But then I ended up working at somewhere else called the Priory Lodge, which, again, I think they were Masonic. But I don't know how to prove, but I think. I was living I lived in 3 different places whilst I was there, all of which you could term of that I would have. You could say that in each place I lived, that there was a potential handler, I suppose.
What about the Masons?
Sorry?
The Masons got anything to do with anything?
Well, obviously they're connected, aren't they? But anyway. So...
Just because one's a Mason doesn't want
no,
make them a bad
of course
person
not,
like
of course
reptilians.
not, of course not, of course not, of course not. I'm just saying that they had Masonic links, that's all, you know. Take it however you want it. It's just a fact that they had Masonic links. But anyway, so...
Anything more about Cornwall?
Yes, because you mentioned bases. So I have a friend who has direct recall of me being forced to train her. She's 10 years younger than me, in a facility at the same time period as when I was living in Cornwall. Now, I'd never told anyone that I'd lived in Cornwall. It never seemed relevant to me before. But she remembered me there, and she went into great detail. Again, I've got all this on email. And so I don't have any recall of this. This is someone who's told me what they can remember involving me. So, you know, take it. But it just was interesting. She knew my age. She knew where we were. And I hadn't, you know, maybe it's true, maybe it isn't true.
Can you describe this person?
What do you mean by that?
Well...
How does she fit in?
How did she
she was trained. She was involved in the super soldier programs, and that really is all that I'm prepared to say.
What do you mean she was involved with the super soldier program?
Exactly what I just said.
What is the super soldier program?
Well, it doesn't really exist, does it, as that term? That's just what everyone
everybody
thinks
says it's an overused term.
Yeah, it's a terrible term. Terrible. What's super about being programmed to be some kind of assassin or whatever they want you to be? You know, what's super about that? It's not super at all. But interestingly, me, as a kid, I went through all these different patches of wanting to be random things, which I really wasn't into at all, because I was just into horses. Me here now, that's all I was really interested in. But I had key periods in my life where I had, and I always knew it had to be a secret. It wasn't something that was spoken of to anybody. This was a secret within my own mind. But I knew this, obviously. But yeah, long and short of it is, this isn't in any specific order, but I'd go through specific patches where I would want to be like... Oh, it's really embarrassing.
Why is it embarrassing?
Oh, I'm about to say it, but it's embarrassing. For example, I wanted to be a lone assassin. Who would want to be something like that?
So you had conscious recall, you wanted to be a lone assassin?
Not just, but I mean at different periods in my life, I had different... I think I was being programmed in different ways at different times. And while that was going on, I would think that I wanted to be that, but in secret, like it would be cool to be that. But you've got to understand, this is like below the age of 12, you know? I'm really young.
So where or how is this happening, this programming?
Good question, eh? I wish I had all the answers. Not just, I just want to be really clear here, obviously not just that. I wanted to be a spy. I wanted to be a high class, like, I thought it would be like a really, oh God, this is so embarrassing. I wanted to be a high class...
call girl.
Yeah, escorty type person.
That's my words, are those the correct words?
Sorry?
Are those the correct escort?
I don't know. What is correct? Both are the same.
I don't
really,
want to put words which are incorrect.
Yeah, it's just ultra embarrassing. I wanted to go to finishing school in Sweden.
Well, that's a nice thing. That's
yeah, but except that they're programming bases. And I wanted to be, you know, when you're like I wanted to be, this is like really like Stepford wifey type thing, but I wanted to be, like they have these like coming out parade things they call them for like the elite's children. And yeah, I always like wanted to be presented at one of those balls, which really are just like meat markets for people to meet potential bloodline matches and stuff.
What do you mean, one of those balls?
Well,
Have
what I
you
just
been
said.
at them?
No, but
Well,
I do.
how do you know about them?
How do I know about them?
Yeah.
I thought it's general knowledge.
Well, maybe it's not to everybody. How can you tell?
Well, I don't know.
What is one of those balls? You mentioned the meat market. Meat market.
They are places where, when you come of age, you are presented to society. Society balls.
Debutantes.
Yeah. Spot on.
What about Sweden?
Oh, that's where I wanted to go to finishing school. I don't know why.
I thought you went to Switzerland for finishing school.
Oh yeah,
Why?
that's it, Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Yeah, I was
But
going
why
to say, I
did
don't
you-
know why I'm saying Sweden.
Well, why did you say Sweden then?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe
Any
because
particular
it's
place
getting
in
a little
Sweden?
bit. I don't know. Maybe because it's getting a little bit late. Maybe I'm a little bit tired. I don't know why it's in Sweden.
I mean,
no,
is this
I
with the-
definitely meant to say Switzerland. Yeah, absolutely.
Just a slip of the tongue.
I don't know. Was it? That's the question. What's the Swedish connection? Because I don't know. Do you?
Well, there's talk about American bases there, but don't want to put words in your mouth.
Oh, well, I have no idea.
Okay.
I mean, I really do have no idea. So I can't. I mean, yeah, I did say Sweden.
So how do you feel about how these dreams or how these wants and desires came to you?
Well, I
It's
think
not exactly the kind of thing every girl has.
And also, this is really superbly embarrassing, and I can't believe I'm going to say this on camera, but God, I wanted to have an immaculate conception, and like have like the next coming of Jesus Christ kind of thing, and that was always there from being a tiny child onwards, and I thought everyone thought like that. I didn't think there was anything strange about it.
Have you actually had children?
No, not that well. Not in here and now, anyway. No.
But where do you mean elsewhere then?
Potentially. There's been times where I have felt pregnant without any act to without doing anything sexually, and then overnight, gone. So who knows?
I mean, what do you mean overnight gone? I mean,
Now, actually, I mean, literally, to be like bloated as though pregnant, sore, signs that all women would say at the beginning stages of pregnancy, and then overnight gone, back to normal.
is this in the same night?
No, I mean, like, obviously I'll feel like that for maybe, I don't know, maybe a month, maybe 2 months.
You've gone up to 3?
Yeah, but no further than 3 months, ever.
Is there any medical evidence you've ever been pregnant?
No, never. Well, I have been tested before operations and stuff. So
I mean, this is
what?
doctors told you if you ever want to know your blood group, you need to get pregnant.
I know. Yeah, I've also been told that apparently my bone's the strongest bone that they've ever operated on. Yeah, interesting.
Does this make you a super soldier?
Well, I think that I can really relate to all of that, and I do think I fit into it somehow, but I don't think that I'm all just about that, because I think that there's so much more, it's just so much more dynamic than being just that simple. Like, yes and no is the answer to that question. So yes and no.
Now, what are you saying yes to and what are you saying no to?
I'm saying yes, I do think I'm involved. But I don't think that...
Do you think I'm involved?
Of course you're involved.
What do you mean, of course?
Well, I mean, you're here. You've got everybody together.
Oh my God. Is there any pay in this? Is there any place you pick up your paychecks on this?
I know, it would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But, you know, we have a soul, we have our souls.
Yeah.
That is the paycheck, having your soul still.
That implies that a lot of people don't have their souls, and you
Yeah,
mentioned
it
this
does.
in part one.
Yeah.
So what's sucking the souls?
Well, people make bad choices. People feed into the egos rather than the soul bases. No pun intended.
Well, in the last 5 minutes, we're going to probably talk about in part 3. We're going to talk about the Super Soldier program, but
Okay.
just letting it get straight out there. Why do you think, or how do you know I'm in the Super Soldier program?
Well, no, I'm saying, I think that you've been obviously you're linked because you've like found everyone, or people have come to you, and so you're massively involved. I mean.
Anybody tell you that in a dark taxi
No,
one night?
No.
Or did you read it in a secret
No, this
manual?
is me.
Or were you teleported to Mars when they told you?
No, this is me. No one told me. This is what I feel. This is what I think.
Right.
So,
Well, we're coming up to the end of part 3. Part 2. And we'll close part 2. Any final comments about you, how you got to Menmouth Hill, got to the bases, stuff like that?
Well, I mean, like it was mentioned, astral projection before. Maybe, I don't know. I can't consciously astral project anymore.
Have you got implants?
Yeah, I've been scanned psychically by someone, and she said that I have implants.
Where are they?
I think there's one behind my left eye, but I don't know. She tried to get rid of it for me, and I did have discharge coming out of my eye, so I don't know if
What
that
type of
works or not.
discharge?
Like gritty.
Black goo?
No, but just interesting that you mentioned that. I used to fall into black holes all the time. When I first started to break the programming, I would literally fall into a black hole all the time. It used to terrify my best friend. She'd be screaming and shouting my name. I wouldn't be able to hear
What do
her.
you mean a black hole?
I mean, the only way I can describe it is I would collapse, but it felt like I was falling in a time loop, like falling through space and time. Except, I mean, she'd see me on the floor. Sometimes she said I was having a fit, but to me, I wasn't here. I was like literally like in a black hole. It's the only way I can describe it. And it was the norm. It started when I was about 16 actually, and went on until the last time it happened was when my grandfather died, and I went into his house the morning after he died. And outside his bedroom door, I fell into one, and that's the last time it happened. But that is like, that was really rare. Yeah. I mean, it really stopped happening like when I was about 22ish.
Well, that's the end of part 2. Falling into black holes. And we'll start part 3. Concentrate on the Super Soldier. Bearing in mind I've just come back from the second Super Soldier
You have.
Okay, thank you very much indeed.